Welcome back guys, today I'm going to be taking a look at this light. It's the Molus G300 and it's a really cool light for a number of reasons. So first up, let's talk about build quality. So the light itself feels like it's made up of a mixture of plastic and metal. It feels like those high-end lights, and it is expensive, it's not a cheap light. The light costs around £600, so that's probably going to be around $700. Now the design on this light is really interesting because it's quite a small unit and it's billed as being a 300 watt light, but there is an extreme mode that you can do with this light, and that'll boost it up to 500 watts. And you do that by pressing both buttons on the ballast at the same time and holding them. And that's going to lock you into a color temperature, and that color temperature is 4300 Kelvin. So you can only go to 500 watts at that color temperature. Now, as well as the light unit, you will have a ballast, and what that is it's a separate part of the light that basically controls the light. I suppose, why would you do it? Why would you split the light up and have it in two parts? Why not just make it a bit bigger and have it all in one? And I suppose with this, they actually show on the website that they've got this light on a really high C-stand, which obviously with the light being smaller and more compact, it just makes it safer because you're not putting too heavy a load that could then tip the stand. You're pushing the weight further down, giving it more center of balance, meaning that the light is more stable. So it's actually really useful for those scenarios. But it isn't just putting the light on a high C stand, it's going to just be more secure on any stand you put it on because it is just lighter at the top and you can put that ballast lower down. The cable that connects the two is pretty long, so that does give you some flexibility in where you want the control unit. I mean, maybe you just want the control unit closer to you so that you can actually control it without going over to the light. That's really useful. But this also does have an app you can connect Bluetooth to it as well and control it that way. Now the light comes with a standard Bowens attachment on the front, so you can put basically any modifier that you've got on this and it will work as standard. I like how robust the light just feels in general. It's got this little carrying handle there, nice big levers on here on the side so that they're easy to do, and it just feels pretty robust. It feels like an expensive light. Now let's talk about connectivity, and first up, the app that I mentioned. You can obviously connect this light via Bluetooth, connect it to your phone and control the light itself within the app, and that'll work with all the other lights by ZHIYUN. So if you've got lots of lights, then it's all going to work in the app, and that's great. Now the light itself does need to be powered via mains, so there's no battery attachment that I know of. Maybe there is some way of doing it, but I'm not aware of it. So if you buy this light, you are going to have to run it from a main supply. So as well as color temperature control, the light also has a bunch of pre-installed effects. Now it's all the standard effects that you imagine you would get on these lights. They basically come on all lights these days, effects. You've got paparazzi, fireworks, lightning, that kind of thing. This light has a bunch of effects pre-installed, so yeah, anything you need, it's probably going to have in there. Now the light is easy to control. You've got two buttons to operate it, and they're pretty easy for navigating the menu, changing the color temperature, that kind of thing. It's a very easy, intuitive menu, so you're going to have no difficulty controlling it. And again, if you use the app, it's really simple in there too. So it's a really easy light to control, and I quite like the fact that they've separated the controls so that you can have it a bit closer to you if you need it. Now let's talk about the fan system. There's two fans on this. There's one on the actual light itself and there's one on the ballast, and those fans can get noisy, and it's kind of a standard these days with the LED lights. They've all got fans and you kind of have to weigh up the pros and cons of the light and the noise. So if you are recording an interview or if sound is important and you have this light close to the sound recording device, you are going to pick up that fan noise. I've got a clip here where I had the light probably roughly 1 meter away, and it was outside, but there was holes in the window, so you know that sound would have traveled in really easily, and you can hear the fan. Now that is the light at full brightness, and that's how the fan sounds. So yeah, it's something to bear in mind when you're using this light. If sound is important, you are going to have to take into consideration the noise from the fan. Now my experience with the light so far is I've really enjoyed using it. Because it's compact, it's easy to bring along, it doesn't take up much space, and also it gets really bright, and that's great. And you can have the light further away to kind of counter that noise because of how bright it gets, and I have found myself using that extreme mode to get that extra brightness. And because the light is so small, putting it on a stand, I feel pretty safe knowing that no one's going to trip over it. It's not top heavy, and that's great. And with the extended cable between the ballast and the actual light itself, you can really put that ballast far away. So what about pros and cons? Well, let's do the pros first. It's small and lightweight, and that's a huge pro because it lets you bring it on shoots. if you're taking less gear, but it also is more secure on the tripod. Another pro is the control unit. I love having the ballast separate so that you can run that far away and have control over it, but also the connectivity with the app. I love when lights integrate into the app. Even if you don't often use them, they will usually come a situation that the app control will be really useful, and that's probably because you've got the light somewhere out of reach. So even if you don't plan to use the Bluetooth connectivity and the app, there will come a time that it is just beneficial to do that. Another pro is obviously the extreme mode. That's super useful. I don't know if more lights could incorporate that, but the fact that you can get 500 watts out of this if you need it, it makes the light much brighter. So yeah, there's just so many situations that will be useful. So really good idea, yeah, to incorporate that into the light. And another pro has to just be the build quality of the light itself. It just feels and looks really sturdy. When I picked it up the first time, it felt expensive. It is expensive, we'll get onto that, but yeah, in terms of build quality, I can't really fault the light. Now let's get onto the cons. First up, the price. It's a bit expensive, you know, £600, $700, whatever it is for you. That's quite expensive from this brand. It does make it one of the more expensive lights that they make. Yeah, it's not going to be cheap, and there may be cheaper options out there, but you've got to weigh up the pros and cons of this light, whether it fits into your system and this is what you're looking for. But yeah, it's expensive. Another con with this is the fan noise. You do hear it. Yeah, it's worth bearing in mind. If that is an issue for you, then it's something to consider. My final con is probably nitpicking. I would love some way of transporting these lights. I don't know if they can include in the box like they do with their gimbals. Just something to carry the light in outside of the box that's a bit more sturdy. Maybe that would up the cost, I don't know, but I would love some kind of carry case included, because camera cases, lens cases and stuff are a lot more easy to come by, but lighting cases, you could make your own with the Pelly case, but yeah, it'd be nice if there was something more robust in there to keep the light safe outside of the box. And that's pretty much it. I think this is a great light. Definitely not on the cheap end, so worth doing a bit of research, seeing what you think, seeing if this is worth it for you. But it is a great light. I love the build, I love the look. It's proving useful on shoot. Let me know what you think of the light. Let me know if there's any other lights that you guys are particularly focused on that are kind of comparable to this. Hopefully a Komodo versus Lumix video coming in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.